Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were petrified when the mission came.
People say, what were you petrified of? You come home worried you were not going to make it to heaven?
No, they would yell so loud, you know. I think it was something that the older people just wanted to scare you a little bit, you know.
And you were. I've heard people say that, but afterwards you went out and had snacks, and that was the exciting part of it, going out and getting something to eat after you went to
the mission.
Yeah.
Especially the last night of the mission, everybody seemed to, you know. I guess.
Since you'd all been saved, now you could go out and have some ice cream, I guess. How about St. Patrick's Day? Was that a big celebration in your area?
It was, but it was more of a religious holiday. Today it's different. It's, you know, they have all kinds of parades and everything now. And now, but when we grew up, it was religious. Plus, it was a very big game for what they call the the club finals. We would have, like, not the county as such, like the local clubs.
Yeah.
They would have their final always on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. And but it was religious. You would go to church and have, you know.
How would it compare to religious as an Easter? I mean, was it was not as, or was it the same kind of a thing? I mean, you know.
No, and it always seemed to fall before Easter, like Lent would be in the middle of it. And what we used to love about it, you would get a dispensation. You would have to give up certain things for Lent,
yes,
but you always got a dispensation on St. Patrick's Day.
So if you'd given up chocolate, you could gouge with chocolate all
You could make yourself sick.
And did you?
Several times. We would be storing it for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And now how about Easter? What was Easter like?
Easter, very religious holiday, you know, very, and then everyone would get together. I remember my mum, she would always have a leg of lamb, and we, you know, cooking it for hours, you know, it was such a big treat.
And did you have family come, or was it your nucleus family?
No, just our own.
Your own
Right.
family. Yeah. That's always a party anyhow when you have a large family.
Right.
So.
We would go visit our grandmother. Our grandmother lived about 8 miles away, so we would always go visit her.
And how would you travel to get there?
We used to cycle.
Oh, and the whole family would cycle?
Well, you know, 2 or 3 would go. She wouldn't take everybody. We had turns.
Oh, okay. All right.
in going with our mom. She wouldn't take all of us together.
And how about Christmas time? Did you have Christmas trees?
Oh, Christmas was wonderful.
Tell me about Christmas.
Great time. I think what I remember a lot about Christmas, there was a local woman who had like a store, and I used to go and help her every once in a while, and they used to have these Christmas stockings with like candy and toys and whatever in there, and I always got an extra treat for helping her out in the store, you know.
And how old would you have been then?
Oh, maybe 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
9 years old, yeah.
And who was she? What was the woman's name? Do you remember?
Mary Bulger. She was a sweet lady.
Yeah, and she had like the little local.
The local shop.
Yeah.
She was the one you would go in like for, you know, with maybe 5 pennies or something, you know, something very small, and she would always give you something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was it? How big of a shop would it have been?
Not that big, but she, you know, and she carried the newspapers, and people would go there on Sunday morning to get their newspapers. And
was she close to the church?
Oh yeah, very close.
Yeah, so that everybody just went right over to pick up their messages.
Right. And she always did extra things for Christmas. She always had extra things in the store, you know, for Christmas.
And did you put up a Christmas tree?
Not really. We used to have holly. My mother would have us go out and we had a holly tree and have the holly up. I do remember we would have to go to Mass early on Christmas morning when it was dark. It was still dark when you went to first Mass.
Wow.
And you would see everybody had to put a candle in the window.
Uh-huh.
And you would see the candle all the way to church, and it would just give you that feeling.
I bet it was beautiful.
Divine.
Yeah.
It's really, really
did you walk to church? Or
yeah.
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 Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, we would walk like 7 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark.
Yeah. And was there... Yeah, I can just imagine that, walking along the road and seeing.
Yeah, and see all the candles in the window. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Right out of my head, whatever. Did you get snow? Was there ever snow Christmas time?
Not very much. No, and if you got snow, it was maybe an inch of snow, and that was it. you know.
Was it exciting to get snow?
Oh, indeed, yeah. They're getting, it's different, it's changed now.
Yeah.
Now they seem to be getting more storms, but not bad. You had a lot of frost. You know, you had to be bundled up pretty good, you know, a lot of frost.
And now at Christmas time, again, you'd have the family, and you'd have, what would be a typical meal that you would have at Christmas time?
Oh, Christmas, we always had the turkey. I mean, Christmas Eve getting ready was hectic.
Yeah.
You know, we used to get it, you know, and you had to stuff it, you had to clean it, stuff it, you know, prepare everything the night before. And the Christmas cake and the puddings, we would make those like 6 weeks before Christmas.
Do you still do it now?
They have gotten away from it. They're more, you know, they still do the cakes, you know, Christmas cake, because it's very rich cake. It's a very rich fruit cake, and you have to have it made ahead of time.
Do you make it yourself?
I used to, but, you know, we've gone off. We've
Not
gone
as
off the
much
fruit cake,
interest.
not as much anymore.
Yeah. So you'd have a Christmas gifts or stockings, or what did you have that was?
Yeah,
Was
wouldn't.
Santa Claus coming, or was it Santa?
Oh, indeed, yeah. My mum used to have someone come in until we were wise enough.
Oh, somebody actually appeared at the house?
Oh, someone came to the house, yeah.
Oh, how nice.
And I remember one night she had everything packaged. You know, everything was, I guess it was one of my older brothers that was doing it, but totally we had no idea. And he was going through the bag, and he picked up something, and he said, "Who's this for, Mum?"
Oh, gee.
The cat was out of the bag. Yeah, so that was
Surprise.
that was funny.
What was your favorite time of the year?
I think I'd have to refer back to probably September. That time when, you know, when I was talking about the All Ireland, especially if our team was in there, it was, you were like maybe 4 or 5 weeks getting ready for this game, and it was a wonderful time.
What kind of things did you do to get ready? I mean, was there celebrations? And things?
Oh, all kinds of celebrations, and my mom was very. She would have us make our own flags. We had to. Our colours were black and amber, so she would dye. It was very easy to get the black material, but she would have white. I think she used to call them flour bags. What the flour used to come in, the 5-pound bag of flour, and she would take those and she would dye them the amber colour or the yellow colour.
And then you sew them together.
And we were doing that for 2 weeks before.
And where did you fly them?
Everywhere outside on the poles, the electric poles, and our gates, the gate, and of course we all had to have one each.
And the bicycles and everything.
No, we would line up. You know.
Was the people came by? You mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, when the cars were passing, you would just wave your flag at all the cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah.
And win or lose, you know, she had us when the game was over and the cars were on their way back. She would have us out there waving the flags.
I bet it was more exciting when you won.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could just see that, a whole bunch of, and everybody waving to you.
Oh yeah,
and
beeping the horns, and you know, yeah, it was exciting.
Was in the area where you grew up in, was there any historic things that came from that particular area? You know, the monuments or
well, like I said, the coal mining area, you know, there were so many tragedies that at one stage we had done fundraising to erect a statue and a monument, and like the names of the deceased would go on there. And August 15th is a very religious holiday over there, and we would have that day where, you know, we would all go down there and we would have mass there, open air mass, which was beautiful.
I bet.
And they would ring the bells, and you know, it was, you know, for some of us that had lost family, it was a tough day, but you know.
A nice day to honor, though.
Right, yeah.
And when was that usually? What time of year was that?
That was August 15th.
You just said that.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah, August every year we would do that.
Yeah. So you'd have August 15th, and then you'd be getting ready for the All Ireland in September. So that must have been a pretty exciting time of the
Busy
year.
time, yeah, busy
time,
time,
yeah.
yeah. And the fall was also nice. You know, at your church you'd be having, we used to call it the harvest fairs, where, you know, you were busy, you know, October right into almost Christmas time.
And what was a harvest fair?
They used to have, well, they'd actually run it in some of the schools, like where they'd have all different foods and, you know, different. And then, like, people that weren't so well off, they would distribute the food to families. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was
So-
nice. Like,
So,
farmers would donate, like, potatoes and vegetables and...
so it wasn't like a market where people brought animals to sell or anything.
Oh,
like
no.
that. It was more of a jams and pies and things like
Right,
that.
right, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And they did different areas, different churches, different areas at different times.
Uh-huh.
So you could go around and do it more. You know, you could do it quite a few times.
Yeah, yeah. How about at Christmas time? Did they do I know you said pantomimes, but did they do the wrens or
Oh
any of that
yes,
kind of,
yeah. That was very very. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you take part in that?
Actually, we didn't do it because where we lived, that area that we lived was very busy. So we had a lot of them that would come to our area, because we were right on the main road, and people would be there. You know, no, we'd have music from. Actually, they wouldn't come until it was dark, so it was maybe 5 or 6 o'clock before they would start coming. And my mum would have all these extra treats for Christmas. Everyone had to have something to eat or drink, and
So it was a party all
session going on. Yeah,
that
yeah.
must have been wonderful.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Actually, they have done that up to recently. That was still a tradition that they held.
In your area.
Right, yeah.
How about Halloween? Was there any celebration for Halloween?
Halloween, yeah, but not as big as it is, you know, here. I mean, they would, yeah, you would be ducking for apples, and they had, I don't know if you heard the barmbrack with the ring.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, yeah, that was big.
And did your mother make that? Or would that be something you would buy?
She used to make them, but in later years, they used to buy them, you know, because it was hard to get the ring right in the middle, you know.
Did you get any of the prizes?
Well, it was the ring, you know. I mean, you would be chewing and you'd be scared to eat it because you were afraid you were going to swallow the ring.
And you couldn't pull it apart. You had to just start eating. You weren't allowed.
Well,
to
it was usually,
the
the bought ones would usually be in a little bit of tissue paper.
Okay.
So you would feel the tissue paper.
Yeah.
You just were chewing very carefully.
I guess so. Yeah. What made you think about coming to the States?
Actually, when I was away at the boarding school and had started to work in the hotel industry, the hours were horrendous. We worked from like sometimes 6, 7 in the morning until 10 at night, maybe an hour break in the middle of the day, you know. And my brother was living here. He was here. And he said, why don't you come over and try it out for a few months? And I came.
And when was that?
I came in February 1970.
1970, okay. And was that it? Did you go back again, or was that it? Did you?
I went back, I guess I went back and forth, you know, for a while. And then I started going to night school. I lived in the city. My uncle used to live in Manhattan.
Okay.
And then we moved up to a friend of my brother's in the Bronx. And I started going to night school there. And I got a very good job with the Irish Tourist Board in New York. And I used to go back and forth with them.
To Ireland.
Right, quite a bit. You know, so I was in constant touch with Ireland for the first few years.
Beautiful. What a nice job to have got.
It was, yeah, very good job.
Yeah.
I actually continued working until our second child was born. Taking the train we moved to Stamford, and my husband was always in Connecticut, so I moved up to Stamford after we were married, but took the train from there into New York every day.
How did your parents feel when you said you were going to go to the States? How did that go down with the family?
It was hard.
Was it?
It was hard. My brother was here, but they knew we wanted to, you know, go further with our education, and, you know, it was for the better. You know, but it was tough. It was tough on my mom.
especially when you're one of the youngest, I suppose.
Right, right.
And everybody else had kind of settled except for the one.
But my younger sister did came out to me at one stage for 6 months and then went back and came back again for 6 months. So I had somebody, my brother.
But when you came out to your brother. He's the
right.
one that met you. Where did you leave from?
From Shannon.
Mm-hmm. And who took you there when you were ready to leave?
My whole family.
The whole family came? Was there a lot of crying?
Oh, a lot. Yeah. It was tough.
Yeah. Did you, when you came?
Actually, I think it was tougher when I went back on my first trip and came back.
Oh, yeah.
Was hard.
Yeah.
That was really hard.
It probably was more exciting going the first time and then
right.
the reality. Huh? No. When you came, did you have it in your mind that this is it, I'll be here for the rest of my life? Or?
Not really.
No.
No, I wanted to go back, go back and forth. But it was hard because, if you had a job, you wanted to hold down your job. You wanted to be, and that. But I did go over there sometimes twice a year. And I was lucky when I was working with the Irish Tourist Board because we would have these familiarisation trips where we would get like 4 or 5 days. You had to be with a group of people, but they would give you 2 or 3 days to visit your family.
Oh, that was nice.
So it was nice. It was really nice.
Really nice. You have a picture there of your family. Why don't you pick it up and tell us who's in the picture?
Okay. This is my mom and my dad here. This is my older brother who is living in my home place right now.
And who's that? What's his name?
That's my brother Jimmy.
Jimmy, okay.
This is my sister Sheila. She's living in Arklow, County Wicklow. And this is my brother Johnny who lives. This is the brother that I came out to visit.
Okay. And now he's back.
And stayed here with him, yeah. He's living in Cork. This is my brother Willie. He's living in my home place, back at home. And this is my older sister who's also living in the home. She's still in the home house.
Is she married?
No. And myself here, yeah. Now my sisters, I have another sister who is in Dublin. My 2 sisters here are deaf mutes.
They are? Oh.
These 2 sisters here. And she's married and has 3 wonderful grown children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they have been here to visit and have been to the States to visit them quite a few times.
Yeah. Did your parents come over?
Oh, yes.
They used to.
Oh, yes, many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah.
And my mother was also, did a lot of volunteer work for St. Mary's, the Deaf Club, and a lot of volunteer work.
Was deafness caused by an illness, or was it?
There was 2 uncles
that also
were deaf, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah. And it was whose wedding?
This is my sister's, my younger sister.
And what's her name?
Mary.
Mary. That was her wedding.
Yeah, she's living just maybe 3 miles from the home place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, she takes care of everybody.
Does she?
Mm-hmm.
She's very nice. And that was taken, how long ago was that?
That was my sister's wedding in 1985.
Okay.
And we all got together, which is nice.
When you came here, what had you come as a visitor first, and then, or did you come making the decision to come? I mean, was it? Had you been?
It was a bit of both. I still had a job over there.
Okay, if you wanted to go back, so it was like a little leave of absence from there.
Right.
And come over here.
Right.
All right. And how did you meet John? John Curtin.
John, yeah, I met John actually in New York. He also plays the famous game of hurling, and at Gaelic Park in New York, where they have all the Irish games, and then there was an Irish centre where they used to have the Irish dances in New York, and we met there.
And how soon after you came over did you meet him?
Probably. I came in 1970, so probably about 3 years.
Oh, so yeah.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And he's a Galway man.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I see you also have brought the book that was written about him, his family, right? My Village in Ireland.
Right.
Could you hold just that?
Sure.
Hold that for a second. And this is just a book that was written about John Curtin's family. So this is your children's family too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful book.
Yeah. And that's
It's
now out of print, you said, right? It was
right.
printed
It was.
in Ireland?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
part of a series that was done by the
By
authors.
yeah, the authors were Sonia and Tim Guidall, and they did My Village in India. My different. They picked families in different areas, and my husband's family was the one that they picked.
Yeah, I looked through that before. That's fascinating. I really want to sit
Beautiful
down and
book.
read
He
it.
was like 10 years old
Yeah.
when they did this book,
Yeah.
and
Really nice.
but it's a beautiful area where he comes from. He
Yeah. Yeah.
right on the ocean.
Well, you come from a very historic area. I mean, Kilkenny. My gosh, the city of Kilkenny is very.
Oh, it's
historic, isn't it?
medieval city.
Yeah.
A lot of history,
Yeah.
and
Was that big in your family, the history of the area? I mean, knowing the history of Kilkenny?
oh yes, yeah, very much.
And do your kids ever go back?
Oh, all the time.
Do they?
They love it there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they love it there. Yeah, we've 4 kids. They love to go back there.
Right, now tell me about the kids. We've got 4 kids, I know now. Tell me their names and where they are, and they married and children.